The Teen Phantom Part 11. It is not long before they are picking Lee up. He is Niki's next-door neighbor. They live just a few miles from Charlotte as the crow flies. By the road it is much longer. "Do you have brothers or sisters, Lee?" Jane asks. "No, but Jim lives in a nest full of sisters." "How many does he have?" "Just 10. He is the only boy." "The poor kid, how does he survive among all those girls?" "They are good kids, they show Jim a good deal of respect." "That sounds great." When they pick Jim up, Charlotte asks him to drive so Jane would be free to visit with them. He accepts the task with pleasure. Charlotte's father has put a mirror full width above the windshield. Jane and Charlotte can speak as face to face when they talk. "Charlotte, did you notice the poem on my bedroom wall?" "Yes, it is actually a prayer. I didn't want to confront you with it since you or Mom doesn't read anything like that." Color comes to Jane's face. She looks a little embarrassed. "I do not know about Mom. I have been reading a lot of things like that for the last few months, harboring a few secrets. While you were gone on some of your trips around the world, I slipped into your library. I checked out many of your books and papers. I would have checked out the little room just off the library if I could have gotten in. I think it is your private office." "My books, my library, how can you think that?" "You know very well they are not mine. Dad set that up for the whole family." "You are correct about my private office. It opens only by Niki's or my presence and a special code." "I know it is true about the library. What made me feel guilty is the way Mom would speak of the library as being Dad's and your idol sanctuary. I never opened my mouth in your defense." "You were not guilty. You were just a victim of Mom's religion." "I am aware of that now. In the past I have been very naive." "I would like to know the kid that writes that column in the Political Phantom. He is kind and seeks no glory. He knows all about the life of a kid. He is the greatest in every way. Maybe he was the one in my dream. It would be so neat to meet him." Jane is staring at Charlotte. She is deeply concerned and ecstatic. "He has to be someone just like you, Charlotte. Why does everyone think it is a boy?" "Do you think it is a boy?" "Most likely it is a boy. I think it could be a girl. It would be neat to know him. Perhaps he does think a little like me." Now Jane looks very happy. She glances around at everyone in the van. Everyone seems to be well relaxed with no certain expression. As she looks at Charlotte now, her expression is relaxed and caring. Tears are trickling down her face and Charlotte becomes very inquisitive. What is she thinking? Charlotte would never pry. Something about their last subject has made her very happy. As they pull into Telluride, Jane says, "Charlotte, do you think we could find a pair of jeans to fit me?" "We may find some. We will not have much to pick from in a remote place like this. It is a little early in the morning." To Charlotte's surprise, they find both a store and a nice pair of jeans for Jane. Then they head for Trout Lake. 3 or 4 miles before the turn off to Trout Lake, Lee begins to fidget and squirm. It is making Charlotte nervous. Just as she decides to ask him what his problem is, he speaks. "Jim, quick, pull over and park it. If I don't find a place to hide pronto, my teeth will start floating or I will pee my pants." Jim pulls over on a wide place beside the highway. Niki opens the door. She slips out to make room for Lee's escape. A few minutes later, Lee heads back out of the woods as fast as he went in. When he reaches the van, he just stands there with a look of confusion, a bit spaced out. "What's wrong, Lee? Are you sick?" "I don't know, Charlotte. I may be losing my mind. When I got there I didn't have to anymore. When I start to turn to come back, I looked up into this little girl's face. She was about 20 feet away, sitting on a stump. She just sat there staring at me with a big smile. My face was on fire. I was so embarrassed. She had the most beautiful golden hair I have ever seen. She was like an angel without wings. I didn't even smile back when I turned to leave. She says, 'Please don't run away.' I ran and didn't look back. Now, I wonder, I mean, I don't know if she was real. There may be something wrong with me. Do you think there could be? This is not one of your practical jokes, is it, Lee? No, Jim. Lee is serious. Charlotte climbs out of the van. Come on, Lee, I will go back with you, we will check it out, okay. Lee just stands there looking at Charlotte for a few seconds with a look to make Charlotte think he could be sick. Then he says sure, absent-mindedly in a rather abstract way. When they get back to the spot where the little girl was seen, the little girl is not there and Lee looks confused. You don't think I am lying, do you, Charlotte? No, I certainly do not. Are you looking for me? When Charlotte turns, there stands the little girl Lee had described. Charlotte looks at Lee's reddish embarrassed face with a smile. The little girl makes her way to where they stand. What is a little girl doing here in the wilderness by herself? I was just waiting for you all to come. What do you mean? Do you want to come with us? I would like to if you don't mind. It would be a pleasure to have you, wouldn't it, Lee? Yes, I guess it would, Lee stammers. I appreciate this very much. I will be no trouble. What is your name? Oh, you can just call me Love. This is a strange little girl. She looks 6 years old, yet she seems much older. Her ways are so refined. Charlotte stares at her with the possibility of her being Agape, Mello's little sister. The little girl looks at Charlotte with pleading eyes. Please don't expose me, she whispers. Charlotte is awe-stricken. The little girl has special powers. She did not need to whisper anything for Charlotte to get the message. Charlotte scoops her up, cuddling her in her arms, then Charlotte kisses her on her little face. You are so sweet, Love. Charlotte is shocked, almost senseless, when she finds herself staring at the lion head. It's an earring identical to hers, on little Love's ear. When she turns to Lee, he looks very troubled and he manages a, what does she mean? Don't trouble yourself, we will talk about it later. For now she is my secret. As soon as her feet touches the ground, Love steps over to Lee. She tilts her face up to him with a real sweet smile. Would you mind? I would like to ride on your shoulders. Lee's bewildered expression grows into a cautious smile. Sure, Love. Lee is dreamy-eyed. He looks to be in a distant world. Love does not wait for Lee to squat so she can mount. She slips behind him in a flash. She springs up, laying her hands on his shoulders to maintain her speed, then settles on his shoulders as if she had been a feather falling from the sky. Lee turns to look behind him. Evidently he is wondering what she had climbed upon to get to his shoulders. There is nothing there. He looks at Charlotte with a puzzled look, then a cautious smile. Charlotte, would you go on ahead? Tell the others that Lee is determined to find the little girl and ask them to wait. He needs a little more time. We will be coming in a few minutes. Charlotte takes her time returning to the van. She mulls over the mystery of Mello and his little sister. She feels very close to them. Though Charlotte has many secrets, others have secrets that entirely engulfs hers. When Charlotte reaches the van, she slips in and softly speaks. The kid is set on finding her. Let us give him a few more minutes. Isn't he likely to get lost? Is something wrong with the kid, Charlotte? Is he out there hollering, come here, little girl? He must really be spaced out. Maybe he is on drugs. Jim, cut it out. No, he is not hollering, come here, little girl. He would never do drugs. He will be here in a little while. Maybe he needed to pee before he comes back. Oh, it may be. Please don't be upset with me, Charlotte. Okay, Jim, I am not upset with you. This is all sort of weird. It is silent, and then Jim spots Lee coming out of the woods. What? The kid found her. Wow. He was not kidding about her looking like an angel. Just look at that golden hair. Lee is carrying a little pink day pack in his left hand. He hands it to Charlotte when he gets to the van. Love's attire is all snow white: blouse, skirt, shorts, anklets, shoes trimmed in blue. Her eyes are an unusual jade in color. There is silence after Jim's remark. Everyone seems to be in a state of shock. Except for Nikki, she is grinning with mischief. Love descends from Lee's shoulders as a feather falling from the sky and takes Lee's hand. She looks at Nikki as Nikki speak. Love cuts her off. Please don't. Charlotte realizes Nikki knows who she is. The please don't has Jim and Jane bewildered. Lee starts his introduction. This is my love, I mean Love is her name. His face has turned red with embarrassment. Love looks up at Lee with a sweet smile. Don't worry about what you say, I am your love. Lee's color begins to fade into another cautious smile, then he continues with the rest of the introduction. After they speak their greetings, Nikki speaks with delight. Welcome aboard, Love. Nikki and Charlotte scoot over to make room for Love and Lee. Lee closes the door and they are off for Trout Lake again. Love does not let go of Lee's left hand. She has it in her lap, holding it with both hands, fondling it. Charlotte begins to wonder at her behavior. Jane looks very disturbed with the goings on. Evidently she has been watching everything through the mirror. Love puts Lee's hand up to her face. She caresses the back of it with her cheek and tenderly kisses the back of his hand. Charlotte is rather shocked at the sight. Charlotte looks at Lee for his response. He is looking straight ahead with a pleasant look on his face. One could think he was ignorant to what Love was doing. Love lays Lee's hand in his lap and takes Charlotte's right hand as she had done with Lee's left hand. Charlotte notices Lee's expression has not changed. She wonders what he is thinking. Lee, is there something wrong? Lee slowly turns to Charlotte. No, not at all, I feel great, I am so happy. Lee does look very happy and lovable, a little dreamy-eyed. Love begins to caress the back of Charlotte's hand with her cheek and kisses it as she did with Lee's hand. Charlotte watches her for a few seconds, then she turned to look straight ahead. Love is such a poised little thing, everything she does is with such care and ease. Charlotte realizes she had been a little critical of her. She speaks very softly, I am so sorry, Love. Then Charlotte fades into a hazy thoughtfulness. Charlotte. Jane's voice brings Charlotte to reality. Charlotte glances at Jane. Jane has a look of panic. What's wrong, Jane? She is hypnotizing you kids, you should not let her do that. Jane, she is not hypnotizing us. Charlotte, maybe Mom is right about my dream. Oh Jane, please, don't let yourself think like that. It will just make you miserable. I do not want to lose you again. Love cannot be evil, you must get hold of yourself. Jane, you are confused, you cannot just let yourself slip back into the muck. It says the devil will do miracles in the last days, Charlotte. Jane's last words spark Charlotte's fury. Her serenity has vanished. She responds very mean, nasty and aggressive. You take your blindfold off, Jane. You may find that you have not pinned the tail on the donkey, instead you have pinned the tail on that high-minded self-righteous preacher, or perhaps the woman that has her head so far up in the clouds she could not see earth. If she tried, she could not care less what happens to her family, the one we call Mom. You will never pin it on a little girl that loves everyone. You all are so out of her class you cannot even see her. Why don't you question that slaying? In the spirit stuff those evangelists do, those people just keel over as if they are dead, then roll around jabbering as if they are crazy as loonies. Do not try to pretend it is scriptural, because there is nothing in the Bible of that sort. I don't want to knock Mom's religion, but for you to think little Love is evil just makes me furious. I will fight vicious lions to defend her. Love looks up to Charlotte with tears trickle down her face. I have messed it all up for you. I love Jane very much too. Charlotte unbuckles the little girl's seat belt. She pulls Love into her lap and she hugs and comforts her. For the last few minutes they sit parked at the trailhead. Love, you have not messed anything up. It never helps to pussyfoot around the truth. You will eventually face it straight on anyway. In the end, Jane knows you love her very much too. She is just having trouble separating her facts from myth. I am so sorry, Jane. I must work on curbing my temper. I did not mean to hurt you. Tears start to trickle down Jane's face. She puts her hands to her face with her elbows resting in her lap. She begins to cry very hard. Love leaves Charlotte's lap as Jim and Lee opens their doors to get out. Love does not get out. She scrabbles into Jane's lap. Wrapping her arms around Jane, she begins to speak softly to her. Don't cry, I am so sorry Jane, I love you very much. You make me so sad when you cry. You are not a bad person. You should talk to my brother Mello, I know he can make you feel better. He should be here any time now.